We're back on Morning Trade Live. Let's focus on Delta Airlines. Shares are flying this morning and moving the rest of the airline segment higher as well after Delta reported earnings. Third quarter revenue growing 4%, and Delta CEO Ed Bastian saying the company's momentum sets Delta up to deliver another strong quarterly report in January. So let's just take a look at some of these airlines today, because Delta has certainly been among the winners on the session today, up 4%. United Airlines also higher by almost 2%. American Airlines fractionally higher. However, Southwest is on the line to the downside, and Delta is the focus of the morning trade. Joining us now for a closer look, as always, Schwab Network host Marley Kayden. So why is the street so enthusiastic about Delta's earnings? Marley, good morning to you.
Good morning, Sam. Yeah, there's a few reasons why the street's excited about Delta's earnings. First, it's a marked improvement from the turbulent start to the year that we saw for Delta and for the other airlines. Secondly, we're seeing travel trends start to rebound in the third quarter, which led to them giving above estimate results for Delta. EPS came in at $1.71. That's up 14% year over year. Revenue came in at $15.2 billion, better than expected, and up 4% year over year in terms of revenue. Premium travel demand continued to outshine coach, and the CEO also adding that cash sales even picked up in July. Revenue from that high-end segment, which is everything from first class to the extra leg room economy seats, increased about 9% in the quarter. Main cabin revenue actually fell about 4%, but was offset by those gains that we saw in the premium cabins. Domestic passenger revenue overall increased about 5% year over year, and the company cited stronger corporate travel demand as part of driving that overall increase. And as you mentioned, Sam, they did improve their guidance to end 2025 thanks to rising airfares and also that luxury travel demand. They're projecting earnings of $1.60 to $1.90 for the fourth quarter. That was compared with estimates for $1.65, so midpoint well above expectations. And as far as revenue for the last 3 months, expecting about 4% growth when they previously had forecast for 1.7% growth. So really improving trends here. CEO Ed Bastian said, quote, "We're back on track to where we were looking to be originally. I anticipate the fourth quarter we will see hopefully the best fourth quarter performance in our history." So quite a statement from the CEO to imply record-breaking numbers before we get to that quarter, but certainly indicative of improving trends in this travel space.
Yeah, I mean, they've set the bar high once again, haven't they, Delta, for the rest of the airlines, very much as far as setting the tone for the rest of the earnings season. I mean, you know, spending less and selling more, it's a pretty good takeaway, and it's why the street is cheering it today. Thank you so much for that, Marley. As always, I'll catch you later. Well, let's trade it now with Joe Tigay, who's the portfolio manager of the Rational Equity Arm Fund. How are you approaching your example trade for Delta, Joe? Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. And just overall in the broader market, we're kind of in a holding pattern here. It had a really nice run recently in September, and really the second into third quarter here. So we're seeing volatility. Yes, the VIX is kind of on the low end of the range, but it is higher than where it's been lately. But this lower end of the range, if you look historically in the post-COVID era, we are still very, very cheap when it comes to volatility. So that's something I'm watching very closely when it comes to the broader market. We can continue to climb this mountain of worry, this wall of worry. Everyone's worried about these stocks here, but we might also see volatility on the rise with it. That said, with Delta, I think it's just a fantastic report. We're seeing a lot of stocks jump after reports or jumped after positive news sentiment. It seems like people want to jump in and buy the stocks on that big gap higher. That's not the way that I would do it. I'm not looking to jump in here and buy stocks on a really high on the higher level. As we can see, Delta is just fading as the day's gone on today. So I'm just looking for a bit of a pullback, and I can collect some premiums while I'm waiting. So I'm just actually going to be looking at November 60. That's about at the money right now. And I'd look to sell a 60 put and collect some premiums while I'm waiting to see if we're higher or lower. Obviously, love it to be higher. Just collect my premiums. If we do go lower, that's great too. I'll be able to buy Delta at a lower price.
Okay, and it sort of seems to be an individual stock kind of story day to day, particularly when you look at what we're seeing with the airlines. You've got critical minerals up as well off the back of some of the headlines we've been tracking. You've got some of the home builders that are down, some of the biggest losers. But the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ losing some steam after actually touching just briefly a fresh record high today. What are your takeaways on the market action today?
Yeah, this is par for the course. Touching record highs, it's obviously great news. Certain stocks doing better than others, like you mentioned. I think the narrative just remains the same. It's been the narrative for the past year and a half. We're just watching this AI infrastructure build out. This hyperscaling of these data centers is just the name of the game. Some stocks I'm watching are utilities today, maybe boring old utilities that are actually having fantastic rallies recently because we're going to need to power these data centers too. So it's just an amazing thing to watch this whole economy transforming. Big picture though, next week, we're going to start to see the earnings for the third quarter coming through. I'd love to see great reports out of these banks. I'd love to see the fact that all this money that's kind of going into this build out of the infrastructure, this build out of these data centers, all this money, is it filtering through the rest of the economy? Are the banks taking advantage of that? We'll start to see maybe a picture of that. I want to see their guidance for next year and to see if the steepening yield curve should help a little too.
Got to get the money from somewhere as well. Joe, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today and unpacking your thoughts. Joe Tigay, Portfolio Manager of the Rational Equity Armor Fund.